Hello, it's Lockston, and you're watching Gnoggin. So, a bit ago, Ubisoft sent me their latest game, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and they asked me to make a video about it, so I played through the whole game, start to finish even, because I just enjoyed it so much. But let's go ahead and start this video off with a description. You know Mario and Rabbids, and maybe even the gameplay styles of both, but when combined, the gameplay becomes that of Fire Emblem and XCOM, but with Rabbids, not Xenos, because I don't think Mario could fight an alien. Mamma mia. In this game, you follow Mario across a multitude of worlds and encounter a plethora of rabid enemies. And Mario, being Mario, only knows one way to take them out, and that is, well, jumping on their head. But when he's not flattening Rabbids, he's shooting them. Wait, since when does Mario use a gun? Oh, I guess right here then. Yeah. Those are some weird looking guns, Mario. Are you sure you know how to use... Oh, he's a natural. Well then, Mario, you just keep on rocking those Rabbids. Oh, the whole gang's got guns. This should be interesting. But throughout the whole game, and I'm sure I'm not the only one thinking this, I kept on wondering, how do these guns even work? Well, let's get right into that, shall we? Well, first I should say that this is all perceived information. None of this info has been given to me by Ubisoft or Nintendo, so as with many videos, take what I say with a grain of salt. This is a video explaining the basics of how these guns appear to work, but it should be noted this is how they work within the Mushroom Kingdom, not in the real world, obviously. The first thing we noticed were these weird orbs on top of all of the guns in the game. Each color orb corresponds to a different special effect, and every special effect lasts for one turn in-game. Once the turn ends, the target will lose the debuff or buff it received, with the one exception being the starter guns, all being a generic color and not having special conditions. Each element also does a special effect on top of the certain types of elemental damage. Though, I say element, but I'm not sure if bounce is an element. Well, let's go down the list. The honey ability is a fun one. This honey-colored ball is the cause of the honey effect. Honey is a status effect that prevents the movement of whomever is hit for one turn. For a honey gun to work, the honey projectile it shoots would need to be heated in the gun to remain viscous. When fired, the honey cools in the air to become thick and sticky again, which then covers the enemy and sticks them to the floor like glue. Simple stuff. The next element is ink, coming from a small black and silver orb with a splat behind the rabbit face. This is simple to explain. Ink is shot, possibly blooper ink, and possibly by just using a pressurized system like the guns from Splatoon. A paintball-like ink ball douses and blinds the target's face, restricting the use of weapons for one turn. The stone effect was a really neat one to figure out. When you get stoned, you can't move, attack, or use abilities. You are petrified. So how do you logically explain petrification? That's quite a fantasy thing, right? But upon examining a stoning blast, we can see some sort of powder being shot out. It isn't petrifying the enemy solid, rather it coats the target in a thin layer of cement powder or stoning agent. Stone orbs must contain some sort of quick-dry cement. The layer is small though, so the target is able to break free after one turn. Guns that cause the burn effect may work similarly to the honey guns, only instead of shooting warm honey, it shoots lava bubbles. Cars. The burn orb heats the energy blast to an incredible temperature, allowing it to catch things on fire, meaning whoever gets hit catches a blaze and gets thrown into a panic and has to run around and stop, drop, and roll to put the fire out. They do, so it's not massively damaging, but now they might be out in the open. Then the freeze effect shows us that the guns are specially made to match each element, as a honey orb in a freeze gun wouldn't work, because the honey, and fire for that matter, needs to be heated to work, and heating ice is just counterintuitive. Though, I wouldn't put that past the Rabbids. The orb energy inside freeze guns is supercooled before it is launched. The preceding shot can then chill its target greatly, preventing them from using their special abilities for one turn until they warm back up. The energy blast that causes the push effect would need to be larger and more solid, in turn causing much more knockback on its target, meaning they fall back and get bounced around everywhere like a pinball game, possibly even out of bounds. Perhaps the orb applies an extra bit of sonic energy to give that shot more boost. The bounce effect was a tricky one to figure out too. It's like the push ability, except it sends the target back and up. But I think we figured it out. The energy blast, being supercharged with bounce energy, hits its target and reverses the gravitational force on or around the enemy. But this amount of energy can only do that for a short time, so they very quickly fall back down to the ground. The sudden change in G-force would be what causes the extra damage though, since Rabbids and the Mario game can fall from these heights all the time, and they're just fine. And then there is Vampirism. You shoot someone, and some of their health floats back in a rabbit skull-shaped vat, and then they'd have these purple bubbles floating above them. And for one more turn, if anyone else shoots them, they also can steal health from them. Basically this one's ghost magic. I mean, booze and ghost Rabbids exist, and it's called Vampirism after all. There's no scientific way to explain this one whatsoever, unless you start dealing with crazy quantum stuff that is only theoretical and might not actually exist. So now that we have the orbs and what effects they can cause, how do they interact with the guns or weapons? Let's start explaining that with my main man Mario. Here is a basic blaster and a huge hammer. The blaster, which is also used by Rabbid Peach, seems to be held in one hand, and a majority of the blaster encloses the hand, and Mario is grabbing onto a pole that goes all the way through it. This hand covering might be so that the blaster protects his hand from any blowback from the projectile. Compared to the other guns in the game, the energy blasts out much closer to his hands on this. The blaster's design varies from blaster to blaster. Some have a nozzle, while others have a semisphere with multiple glowing panels. It is believed that all blasters have these panels, and the orb atop the gun creates or transfers some of its energy into the center panel, while the additional panels store energy to create the propulsion needed to fire the center projectile. Mario and Rabbid Mario's secondary weapon is the hammer. And I really just want to say, Rabbid Mario is probably my favorite character in this game. So much personality. He's more of a plumber than Mario. Anyway, the hammer is an iconic Mario weapon that Mario himself is no stranger to. This large two-handed hammer with two orbs set like gems on the side of the head is a powerful beast, much stronger than most guns. Most hammers seem to follow the same design, with only the heads changing drastically. And notably, the hammer cocks by pushing down on the head. When the hammer strikes the ground, it momentarily releases the energy it's been storing from the two orbs to create a large explosion. The hammer using two orbs is likely why it's so strong and has such a huge blast radius. Next on the list is Mario's counterpart, none other than Green Mario. Linguini. Lasagna. Hang on, I wrote his name down somewhere. Right, Luigi. How could I forget? Lamborghini has experience with nozzle-based weapons thanks to his adventure in Luigi's Mansions, and thus, Luigi uses the precision rifle to snipe Rabbids from afar, and Luigi also shares a sentry drone with Rabbid Peach. The precision rifle is a two-handed weapon with the power orb situated on top of a large, voluminous chamber. The rifle's trigger is on the front grip, with a pull handle that seems to cock the weapon, located on the back. Due to the long rifled barrel, Luigi boasts the longest range in the game. It is believed that the orb's projectile is situated at the start of the barrel, and the entire chamber is filled with propellant as to make the orb fly farther. Then the slug-like energy blast that it fires seems to be thinner due to the barrel, and it has a much longer trail. The added propellant also doesn't just make the gun shoot further, it also makes the blast fly faster, meaning the impact is much greater from this weapon, causing much more damage than a normal blaster shot. Luigi's second weapon is the Sentry. These small, autonomous drones are able to hunt down an opponent once it locks on. Powered by the orb on top of them, this robot will follow any target until it either reaches them or is destroyed, or another enemy steps into its blast radius. The power source to propel this vehicle is provided by the orb, presumably, and once it reaches the target, it will self-destruct. Most likely by breaching the orb with some sort of internal device that then causes the orb to explode. Its explosion range is about the same as a grenade, and later, higher leveled ones are able to explode much more. Keeping in line with green sidekicks, we have Rabbid Yoshi. This deranged lunatic uses the minigun-like weapon, Rumble Bangs, along with Grenaducks. The Rumble Bang is a small two-handed non-mounted turret-style minigun with two handle shields. The barrels of this weapon seem to affect the size of the projectiles, and one volley contains about 10 energy projectiles. Presumably, the orbs on the weapon fill the inner chamber with the energy that it shoots, and as the barrels spin, it lets out this energy bit by bit. And due to the shots being separated like this is both the strongest and weakest weapon, pretty much depending on how many of the shots land. Rabbid Yoshi's second weapon that he shares with our defender in a dress Peach is the Duck Grenade, or the Grenaduck. Due to the unstable nature of the power orbs, they normally explode if any harsh impact or energy is imparted onto them. Much like how there are large boxes of orbs that explode if you shoot them. By squeezing the rubber ducky, you deactivate its rubbery containment, so when thrown, the impact with the ground would cause the orb to detonate, either immediately or after one bounce, perhaps depending on how hard you squeezed it. Next on the list we have Rabbids Mario's shotgun-like boom blaster that he also shares with Peach. These large two-handed heavy weapons boast a large damage with a mighty fast drop-off. They also seem to have a much larger orb than the standard weapons. The internals work similarly to a blaster, except instead of the energy being propelled, it is detonated inside of the gun, creating an almost cone-shaped explosion, blasting its way out of the gun. The range is about 7 cells away, or double a grenade's 3 range, so it is theorized that the orbs are very volatile and act as grenades in most forms, meaning the boom blast is an aimed grenade essentially, and the larger orb means that it can create a larger explosion. And I just need to mention it again, Rabbids Mario is the greatest character. And well, we just did Rabbids Mario, so we might as well do Rabbids Luigi next. It seems Luigi's clothes are too large for this tyke, always pulling his sleeves up and all. Rabbids Green Mario's secondary weapon is the rocket launcher. They work very similarly to the blasters, but the long body allows the orb's energy to be shaped into a longer cylinder. With the added energy, its explosion is much more energetic and thus hits a larger area. Rabbids Linguini also shares this weapon with Yoshi. RL's primary weapon is unique to him. It's the Bwar. A Bwah orb, I guess. Well, this seems to be similar to the weapon that the Peekaboo's enemy carry, meaning that it's just a power orb that they can cast the energy from. Except in Rabbids Louie's case, it has an apparatus around it. Rabbids Louie does seem to be a caster, but he must not be as well versed in the world of magic, therefore needs an outer casing to focus the power. The weapon itself acts as a floaty, stringless yo-yo which spins and opens to reveal the orb. Upon firing the device by smacking it, a small jet of energy with a small, non-stable magic missile-looking beam projectile is fired towards the enemy. Its stats are similar to the blaster, although it seems to have better special effects scores. This may be due to his mastery of the orbs without much help from machinery. And as for the enemy's weapons, most of them are either casters who use the orbs in their purest form, or they have guns that they reload and fire whole entire orbs from, or they work in pretty much the same way. Or they're Valkyries, which, they do that. Well, and then there are, like, Luigi and such, who just carry around a large thing and walk up to you and smash you with it. But I think that one's kinda self-explanatory. And that about does it. At first it may seem weird for Mario to be using a gun, but eventually the idea grew on me and now it's great. The guns all work using cartoon logic, toon force and all, but they can still be explained, and I love that. So I'll be covering this game some more soon too. So, a huge thank you to Ubisoft once again for giving me a code to this game early, and if you want to check it out yourself, there's a link in the description which will take you to its website. And until next time, please remember to never stop using your noggin.